Okay, so I just cover a few things that I hadn't in the last video, and I thought I'd go into a little bit more detail into the forge design. As you said, maybe if anybody saw the post that I did the other day, that I had chimney issues. So I've reinforced it. As you can see here, I've got a heavier gauge pipe. It's not aluminum. This is a much thicker galvanized pipe. I think it's maybe something off of an exhaust pipe or something like that. It's quite heavy duty. So I'm hoping that helps. So that should help diffuse a lot of the heat. And then I've cemented it in. And the aperture, or the connection that I've always used was it's actually just a small 1 liter paint can that I had cut and then pop riveted onto the side and then cemented around it. So that's what I use as the outlet for the, I don't know if you can see, but the through the hole. And so I've got the square, it's just a square hole cut into the fire brick. It's the whole idea is that it's not supposed to act so much as a chimney, but just as a to funnel out excess heat. And as you have seen from the results, it actually works extremely well at funneling out the excess heat. So much so that I've had to reinforce the integrity of it. But I'm hoping that works better. And then this is a galvanized sheet metal that I've clamped on here, and then I've got the aluminum pipe. So I'm hoping that this solves the problem. And the other upgrade I did was I made this lightweight tin shelf here, just to help catch coals and pieces of like chisels or whatever I'm forging from falling out, because I had an issue with that after I was done filming the last day of actually having a hot piece of steel fall out. Yeah, don't touch the hot steel. That's the first time I've actually ever had a burn. So it's a learning curve as far as working with this forge, because the old forge that we used to have was much larger, and I never had this issue of steel falling out. So that's why I put this shelf on. I'm hoping that solves the problem, and I'm going to be getting it fired up soon. But I just wanted to talk about a few of these upgrades. The other upgrade too that I should show you. The outlet where I don't know if you can see, but the outlet that yeah, there we go. I made up this just a piece of heavy gauge iron pipe that I've drilled holes in, and that's going to act as my diffuser where the air comes in. You can see I just have the pipe there. You can see, there you go, where the air comes in. And before that, I just had a mesh cover that kept on melting on me because it just got too hot. So this hopefully will be heavier gauge, and that just helps keep the hot coals from both falling down the air pipe when I shut it down, but it also helps to diffuse the air and spread the air out over a more uniform space. So these are a few little design, little things that I'm tweaking to make the performance better and a little bit more robust. So yeah, it's it's an ongoing, design, and I'll be improving things as I go. But I just thought I'd give these updates so that if anybody does want to build their own, they can factor these things into their own design, whatever you end up making your forge out of. And as you can see, I'm just getting ready here to light the fire. So if anybody has never lit a forge, it's just like lighting a fire in a fireplace. You start out with a bit of paper, and what you do is you pack the charcoal around it before you light, and that will guarantee that the charcoal catches the fire as the kindling is burning. So that's a little detail. It's kind of, if anybody's ever started a fire, it should be kind of a no-brainer, but not everybody has experienced lighting fires these days. And so it's one of these things I try to factor in people's vast range of knowledge. I recognize that not everybody has as many experiences as others, and I respect that. So Oh, the other thing that I wanted to mention was I mentioned in my video the term refractory, and in conversating with somebody who had watched the video, they'd question what a refractory was, and I guess I assumed that it was a universally understood word, but since I recognize that not everybody has the same knowledge, a refractory is, generally speaking, anything that lines a fireplace or a place where you have an intense heat, and it's fireproof material. So in this case, the whole liner is the refractory. So the top is a casted refractory. It's made up out of fireproof cement that you mix up. It comes dry. The back is out of an antique iron stove. It's a one-piece refractory liner piece, and the sides are made up out of a modern fire brick that I inserted, and the bottom is modern fire brick along with this front ledge. So, you know, that's cobbled together out of what I had around. If I didn't have that, then I would probably have made it all out of fire brick and casted refractory. So the top is the thinnest part. Probably it's about, I guess it's probably about an inch, no, probably about 3/4 of an inch, I guess, or half an inch of refractory on the top of it. I put in a bit of a mesh reinforcement, like chicken wire, just to keep it from falling if it does crack. And I might build it up a bit more if it breaks down. And then on top, in between the layers, I don't know if you can see, but in between the inner and the outer layer of the metal is actually the whole inner box is plastered with a white thin set that you use for setting tiles, and that is also reinforced with a chicken wire to keep it all together. And the whole thing is coated with that, roughly about an inch worth of that, and with the airspace. And I think the airspace helps out quite a bit just to keep everything regulated in temperature. So there's an airspace underneath it, and there's an airspace on the top, and these vents probably also help. So as you can see, the sides haven't been distorted from the heat, which means that the airspace is doing quite a bit of cooling. And because I have it upside down, the vent that would normally be on the bottom of this microwave is in fact the top, and I think that also helps to diffuse a lot of heat, because a lot of the heat comes out. And this thing, it gets so hot that if you splash water on it, the water actually bounces off. Like it's hotter than a griddle when I run this forge. So the whole thing is very efficient and seems to be working quite well. Actually better than I even imagined. So yeah, I just wanted to cover those things before I get it fired up. And today, if everything goes as planned, I intend to show some tempering. These are the chisels that I have made up that I intend to do some tempering, and I'll make up some more chisels yet, but these are the ones that I was able to get made up in the first couple of firings of the forge. And so when you temper, I don't know if you can see, but when you temper, the temper is probably going to come down about that far. So if the temper becomes too hard, what will happen is you'll lose that much off the end of your chisel. The first time you use it, it'll pop right off. So that's how you'll know that the temper is too hard. What you want is a gradation. So you want a temper. In some cases, you'll end up with a double temper. So you end up with a temper that comes down about that far, and then it'll transition to a softer spot here, and then you actually end up with a second temper, and you actually see it in the colors. You'll see colors after you've quenched it. You'll actually see the colors in the steel. So the colors as you're tempering it will actually be left as interesting kind of rainbow effect in the steel. and so you'll end up seeing the straw color and the pink color and the blue color, and that's those indicate the temperatures the steel was when it was quenched, and that it also dictates the quality of the temper. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the paper, and it's taking light, and the kindling. Once you get some embers glowing, then it kind of takes care of itself. So when you first light up a forge, that's usually the smokiest part. Once you get the heat up, it gets so hot that you just basically it's just carbon dioxide that comes out the end pipe and heat. So you'll just see just clear heat distortion coming out the exhaust, and that's how you know when it's running at its peak. There we go. Now it's starting to take. And that's pretty much it. So it's pretty straightforward, and we'll just let that kick in. Usually I give it a few blasts of the blower. Oh, and I forgot to mention about this blower, which let me just pan down around here. So this blower actually is, I unfortunately edited it out of the last video when I was being a little bit savage about trying to keep it short, but this blower is just a cheap vacuum that I picked up, and I got it for like under $40 Canadian, which was a lot cheaper than anything I could find online for blower motors for forges. So if anybody wants to have a very affordable solution for a blower motor, I think that's the best value for the what you can do with it. And you know, obviously it's not going to last forever, but it does the job for occasional running of a forge. So I'll just give this a few blasts. Just get the temperature up. Okay, so we got the temperature starting to get up here on the forge, and I got my first chisel. When you're tempering, what you'll probably just do one chisel at a time, because the last thing you want is to leave a chisel in too long, only then to lose the tip. I'll just show you that's like kind of the minimum color that you. Oh, see, it cools off so quickly. You really got to get it up to a straw yellow in order to get the heat that you need for tempering, because you need roughly about 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds per temper, and that's the method I'm going to be using, is a timing method. And to roughly explain to it before I show you, because it's going to happen very quickly. But you essentially you dip in the tip about half to 3/8 of an inch into the water into a quick quench. Pull it out. Wait for about 3 to 4 seconds. So count three to 4 seconds, and then put it back into the water to quench the rest of it, and then finish that off. And that's what that does is it establishes the depth that you first set it into is the first temper. You pull it out, and the heat from the rest of the chisel softens off the harshness of the initial quench, and it essentially, well, I guess you could use the term tempers the surrounding metal so that it doesn't reject it later on. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. There's probably a much more technical way of describing it. Oh, got this chisel ready to go here. Nice and golden orange. Timing was a little out with that one, but that's essentially the idea. It's a pretty quick process. Again, if you have a heavier gauge chisel, you can time it out a little bit longer because the steel will hold the temperature longer. Okay, so we've got our temper tools, and what I've done is I've started sharpening them up. And this is one that the longest one here that I got sharpened up, and I tell you it's worked out to be an absolutely beautiful tool. It's I suspect that this one will probably eventually end up snapping off just because it is so thin. But in the meantime, it's an absolutely gorgeous tool, and it leaves a really, really nice finish. And sometimes all you need is a chisel to last one job, and that's enough. It's as long as it does the job for what it's been designed to do, it owes you nothing. You can always again fire up your forge and make a new chisel. But yeah, that's a really sweet tool, and I've got a piece of marble here just to test them out, see if the tempers worked out. And this it's not a terribly hard marble, but it's not a super soft one either. It's would be about a medium softness, I guess. Um, and it leaves a really nice edge. Really, really, it's going to be a lot of nice stuff we can do with this chisel. And this long shaft, this is the kind of tool that you can use for really deep carving. And you need tools this long to do specialized carving work, something you can't do with the short ones. So you need a range. You need long ones, you need short ones, and having a good variety is really important because you never know what kind of a job you're going to be given, and you don't always have time to forge them on demand. So that's a nice tool. Again, the claw tool, it's worked out beautifully. Tempers worked out nice. It's a little bit softer, but again, saves from the teeth from breaking off. Still harder than not having a temper, so I'm content with that. That's going to be a very nice tool too. So I'll just slowly go through them all, and I've got the whetstone. I think you've probably seen the video that I put up on sharpening the chisels. This is really where the magic happens now. You take a beautifully tempered tool, you take it to the sharpening stone. And that's really where the fruits of your labor happen, right there. And I hope that you've enjoyed this this video. I try to make them pertinent and informative, and soon I'm going to be getting back into my special projects, and I haven't touched my marble disc. So for people that have been eagerly waiting for my marble disc, that that will be, winding back up again soon. We are getting busy very shortly, but an hour here, an hour there, it makes a big difference. So I do intend to keep that going, and everything else. So let's just see how well I can juggle. But in the meantime, this will certainly get your minds going, and hopefully I'll find out in the future if anybody actually does make up their own forge, because I'm very interested in finding out how it goes for you. So I'll say sign off for now, and see you next time.